In the book, Raising Self-Reliant Children in the Self-Indulgent World, H. Stephen Glenn and I identify the significant 7 perception and skills necessary for developing capable people. They are: number 1, strong perception of personal capabilities. I am capable. Number 2, strong perception of significance in primary relationships. I contribute in meaningful ways and I am genuinely needed. Number 3, strong perception of personal power or influence over life. I can influence what happens to me. Number 4, strong intrapersonal skills, the ability to understand personal emotions and to use the understanding to develop self-discipline and self-control. Number 5, strong in interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills, the ability to work with others and develop friendships through communicating, cooperating, negotiating, sharing, empathy, and listening. Number 6, strong systemic skills, the ability to respond to the limits and consequences of everyday life with responsibility, adaptability, flexibility, and integrity.
Number 7, strong judgmental skills. The ability to use wisdom and to evaluate situations according to appropriate values.
Number 7, strong judgmental skills, the ability to use wisdom and evaluate situations according to appropriate values.
Children developed these perceptions and skills naturally when they were allowed to work side by side with their parents.
Children develop these perceptions and skills naturally when they were allowed to work side by side with their parents, receiving on-the-job training.
Receiving on-the-job training while making meaningful contributions to the family lifestyle.
Receiving on-the-job training while making meaningful contribution to the family lifestyle.
The irony is that in the good old days, children had opportunities to develop strong life skills, but had few opportunities to use them.
The irony is that in the good old days, children had opportunities to develop strong life skills, but had few opportunities to use them.
Now, the world is full of opportunities for which too many children are not prepared. Today, children do not have many natural opportunities to feel needed and significant, but parents and teachers can thoughtfully provide these opportunities.
Now the world is full of opportunities for which too many children are not prepared. Today children do not have many natural opportunities to feel needed and significant, but parents and teachers can through fully provide these opportunities.
Most misbehavior can be traced to a lack of development in these significant 7 perceptions and skills. The good news is that most behavior problems can be eliminated when parents and teachers learn more effective ways to help their children and students develop healthy perceptions and skills.
Today, children do not have many natural opportunities to feel needed by and significant. But parents and teachers can thoroughly provide these opportunities. A wonderful fringe benefit is that most behavioral problems can be eliminated when parents and teachers learn more effective ways to help their children and students develop healthy, healthy perceptions and skills.
By more effective, I mean skills that don't include lectures or punishment. Understanding why children do not behave the way they used to is the first step for parents and teachers who are facing child discipline challenges. We need to understand why controlling methods, which worked so well many years ago, are not effective with children today. We need to understand our obligation to provide opportunities which were once provided by circumstances for children to develop responsibility and motivation. And most importantly, we need to understand that cooperation based on mutual respect and shared responsibility is more effective than authoritarian control.
We, we need understanding why children do not behave the way they used to is the first step for parents and teachers who are facing child discipline challenges. We need to understand why controlling methods which worked so well many years ago are not effective with children today. We need to understand our obligations to provide opportunities which were once provided by circumstances for children to develop responsibility and motivation. And most important, we need to understand that cooperation based on mutual respect and shared responsibility is more effective than authoritarian control.
The following chart explains the differences between the three main parenting and teaching styles. Strictness, excessive control, includes order without freedom, no choices, you do it because I said so. Permissiveness, no limits, includes freedom without order, unlimited choices, you can do anything you want. Authoritative, positive discipline, kindness and firmness at the same time, includes freedom with order. Limited choices. You can choose within limits that show respect for all.
There is on the table three main approaches for adult-child interaction. Number one, strictness, excessive control. Order without freedom, no choices. You do it because I said so. Number two, permissiveness, which is no limits. Freedom without order, unlimited choices. You can do anything you want. Number three, positive discipline, authoritative kindness, and firmness at the same time. Freedom with order, limited choices. Also, you can choose within limits that show respect for all.
The attitude of parents or teachers who choose between each of these three styles is very different. Strictness. These are the rules by which you must abide, and this is the punishment you will receive for violation of the rules. Children are not involved in the decision-making process.
The attitude of parents or teachers who choose between each of the three approaches is very different. Strictness. These are the rules by which you must abide, and this is the punishment you will receive for violation of the rules. Children are not involved in the decision-making process.
Permissiveness. There are no rules. I am sure we will love each other and be happy, and you will be able to choose your own rules later.
Permissiveness. There are no rules. I'm sure we will love each other and be happy. And you will be able to choose your own rules later.
Authoritative. Together, we will decide on rules for our mutual benefit. We will also decide together on solutions that will be helpful to all concerned when we have problems. When I must use my judgment without your input, I will use firmness with kindness, dignity, and respect.
Dignity and respect. Positive discipline. Together, we will decide on rules for our mutual benefit. We will also decide together on solutions that will be helpful to all concerned when we have problems. When I must use my judgment without your inputs, I will use firmness with kindness, dignity, and respect.
As a fun way to illustrate the extreme differences between the three styles, Dr. John Platt tells the story of 4-year-old Johnny at breakfast time in each home. In a strict home where mom knows what is best, Johnny does not have a choice regarding breakfast. On a cold, rainy day, controlling mothers all over the world know what Johnny needs, some kind of hot mush to get him through the day. Johnny
As a fun way to illustrate the extreme difference between the three styles or approaches, Dr. John Platt tells the story of 4-year-old Johnny at breakfast time in each home. Number one, in a strict home where mom knows that what is best, Johnny doesn't have a choice regarding breakfast. On a cold, rainy day, controlling mothers all over the world know that Johnny needs some kind of hot mash to get him through the day.
however, has different ideas. He looks at the mush and says, "Yuck, I don't want this stuff." 100 years ago, it was much easier to be a strict, controlling mother. She could just say, "Eat," and Johnny would obey. It is more difficult today, so mom goes through the following 4 steps in her effort to get obedience. Step 1.
Johnny, however, had different ideas. He looked at the mash and said, "Yuck, I don't want this stuff." 100 years ago, it was much easier to be a strict, controlling mother. She could just say, "Eat," and Johnny will obey. It is more difficult today, so mom go through the following 4 steps in her effort to get obedience.
Needs hot mush to get him through the day. Remember what your mother told you that hot mush would do inside your body? It will stick to your ribs. Have you ever thought about what a 4-year-old thinks when he is told that hot mush will stick to his ribs? He is not very impressed.
Step 1. Mom tries to convince Johnny why he needs hot mush to get him through the day. Remember what your mother told you how much would do inside your body. It will stick to your ribs. Have you ever thought about what a 3-year-old thinks when he is told hot mush will stick to his ribs? He is not very impressed.
Step 2. Mom tries to make the mush taste better. She tries all kinds of concoctions. Brown sugar, cinnamon, raisin, honey, maple syrup, and even chocolate chips. Johnny takes another bite and still says, "Yuck, I hate this stuff."
Step 2. Mom tries to make the mash taste better. She tries all kinds of concoctions: brown sugar, cinnamon, raisins, honey, maple syrup, and even chocolate chips. Then she takes another bite and still say, "Yuck, I hate this stuff."
Step 3. Mom tries to teach him a lesson in gratitude. But Johnny, think of all the children in Africa who are starving to death. Johnny is still not impressed and replies, "We'll send it to them."
Step 3. Mom tries to teach him a lesson in gratitude. But Johnny, think of all the children in Africa who are starving to death. Johnny is still not impressed and replies, "Well, send it to them."
Number 4. Mom is now exasperated and feels her only alternative is to teach him a lesson for his disobedience. She gives him a spanking and tells him he can just be hungry. Mom feels...
Step 4. Mom is now exasperated and feels that her only alternative is to teach him a lesson for his disobedience. She gives him a spanking and tells him he can just be hungry.
Good about the way she handled the situation for about 30 minutes before she starts feeling guilty. What will people think when they find out she couldn't get her child to eat? And what if Johnny is really suffering from hunger? Johnny plays outside long enough to build up guilt power before he comes in and claims, "Mommy, my tummy is so hungry." Mom now gets to give the most fun lecture of all, the "I told you so" lecture. She doesn't notice that Johnny is staring into space while he waits for her to finish so he can get on with life. Mom feels very good about her lecture. She has now done her duty to let him know how right she was. She then gives him a cracker and sends him out to play again. To make up for the nutritional loss suffered from a lack of good breakfast, she goes into the kitchen and starts fixing liver and broccoli. Guess what lunch will be like?
Mom felt good about the way she handled the situation for about 30 minutes before she started feeling guilty. What will people think when they found out she couldn't get her child to eat? And what if Johnny is already suffering from hunger? Johnny plays outside long enough to build up a guilt power before he comes in and claims, "Mommy, my tummy is so hungry." Mom now gets to give the most fun lectures of all, the "I told you so" lectures. She doesn't notice that Johnny is staring into space while he waits for her to finish so he can get on with life. Mom feels very good about